Hello, so this video is kind of to introduce the very basic ideas of scales, two different scales, the engineering scale, as you can see here, it says engineering, and then the architect scale. I think you've already covered most of the information during the lecture, but then I just want to go over some quick issues that in case you are not understanding it correctly or you get some, but then you kind of feeling short on others. So for the engineering scales, it's because most engineers draw like bigger plans. So the scales in engineering scale is like 10 scale, 20 scale, 60 scale, 50 scale. So it's like, and then this is 40 and 30. So it's basically mostly large plans. So as I draw it here, as you can see, if you use a 20 scale, if we all want to represent a 10 feet length on a paper, if you use a 20 scale, it will be just this long, right? But then in most of the architecture, because architecture scale, architecture are in generally smaller, so we want to use the scale bar that can make the certain length longer. So it's like if it is a 10 feet in an architecture scale, 1A scale that we usually use, it will be this long, as you can see here. So this is 0, 4, 8, and then this is 10, right? So that's 10 feet. So that is to say, use different scale bars by indicating, you want to indicating the same length, they're actually represented differently on the paper. So that's the first thing you know, different scale bars actually representing the same length differently on a paper. And then typically when the scale is smaller, your length will be longer, right? So by using the A scale bar, you actually have a longer line to represent the 10 feet than the 20 scale. So that's the thing. So in this assignment, what you can see here, it tells you this plan was drawn in a 20 scale. And so what you need to do is that since it's already indicated it's in a 20 scale, you should not like say measure everything in ruler and then multiply yourself. You just use the 20 scale bar, which is this one, the engineering scale. So you should have both scales in hand. You first use the engineering scale bar, use the 20 feet scale to measure what's the real dimension of this plan, because it's drawn in a 20 scale, but then the actual dimension of the building you want to know. So that's the first thing you do. You need to pick up a 20 scale bar and then you need to measure. Okay, so from here, the first wall from the beginning to the end, did you read? That's 6 foot, right? Because this is, so 20 scale means 1 inch, which is from here, equals 20 feet. So this is 20 feet in a 20 scale. And then this is, did you see there are 6 tick marks there? So this part from here to here is 6 feet. And then from this tick mark to that tick mark, you can read it again. And that's around 11 feet, right? Can you see it? Yes. Okay, so that's about 11 feet. If you read it a little bit off, that doesn't matter. If you read 12, then you can write 12, that doesn't matter. And then this is another 6, right? So this is the way you do it. You kind of define, so this means this building from this wall to the first window is 6 feet, is 6 feet long. And then the window size is actually 11 feet long. And then this little wall here is another 6 feet wall. So that's the way you do it. That's, you need to tell the original dimension of the building, and then you just use the 20 scale bar to do it. And then you should not use any calculation in between, so you just read it. And then that's where you decide, okay, so that's the real dimension. And right now, what I need to do is to draw it in an A scale bar, right? So the A scale bar, you already know dimension of the first wall is 6 feet. So you can draw the first wall here in 6 feet, which is from here. I'm not sure if you can see it. Okay, here to here, right? So this is, so every tick mark, the regular tick mark, did you see the regular tick mark of the ruler? So this, every tick mark is 1 foot. So 1 foot, 2, 3, did you see a 4 here? The upper? Yes. And then 5, 6, 7, did you see the 8 here? So you use this, every little tick mark is 1 foot. And then if you are confused, because every scale is a little bit different, right? Did you see a denser marker here, like a denser one that has like here is this tiny thing, and then in here you see this like a little bit more like longer one. Every this part is 1 foot. So in this scale bar, this is 1 foot, this is another foot, that's another foot. But you always start from 0 and then measure beyond that, right? So that means this wall that you see in a 20 scale bar here, this 6 feet should be this wide in an 8 scale bar. And that's the way you do it. And then you find another 11 feet tick mark, and then you draw it continuously. Is that making sense?